Great. All right, Karen, we have just going to wait for a few people to join.
Hi.
Yeah, we just got a few people here join. So I'm happy to do this on a Monday in spring. Finally, the weather is starting to break. How is it there for you? What was it like for you today?
So it's a little cloudy today. The weekend was gorgeous.
What's that?
80, mid 80s, actually. We're here in Westchester, Ohio, just
Hi.
north of Cincinnati. Hi, Susie.
Hi, Susie. How are you? Oh, there we go. We got you now, Susie. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Good, good. Hopefully you're not the one driving.
I am not the one driving. I'm driving passenger.
Good, good. Well, nice to see you. So we'll get started, Susie. I was just saying we'll get started in just another couple of minutes. We're just kind of discussing the weather. Where are you driving right now?
I am leaving beautiful Florida, headed to Virginia.
Oh,
so
nice.
I've got about 10 to 12 hours ahead of me. I've got time.
Oh, wow. Well, we'll only take up half an hour of your time. We're hopefully you're driving safe. How was your time in Florida?
Oh, it was wonderful. I just left a conference of like-minded business professionals, and so I'm very inspired at the moment and excited to get back home.
Excellent, excellent. All right, so I guess, yeah, we'll get started. Yeah, a few minutes after I think it's time to get started. So where we'll begin, I'm just going to introduce myself, and then I'll give you an opportunity to both introduce each other, introduce yourselves as well. So my name is Tim Howard, and I am the Chief Innovation Officer at Vish. Vish is something that sort of a brainchild of mine many, many years ago, and finally have it in, we're very successful where we are today. In a lot of salons. And what we're celebrating today is the Waste Warriors. So on our call, we have Susie and Karen, who are both Waste Warriors. And we'll go into a little bit what that is and what a Waste Warrior is a little bit later in the webinar today. So I just want to welcome everybody that's joining. And I'm going to hand it over to you, Karen, if you want to give an introduction, where you're from, your salon, and just some general info about you and your business.
All right. So I, like you, actually was in education for part of my career, but I've been in the industry for 38 years and owned Sozo Hair, which is now by Bejan Salon. It used to be Bejan Salon. Sozo Hair for 22 years with my husband. And your brainchild is unbelievable. Honestly, you and Josh, I am so impressed that you were even able to pull this off. My husband is a chemical engineer, and the second he saw this program, when someone introduced it to us, he was all over it. And he knows the industry. He's my partner for 22 years. He is all over this kind of technology. I am not. But I will tell you that Vish can literally save salons. I can't believe how much color we have saved. And I will never finish praising you and Josh for making this program happen.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's definitely not been the easiest thing we've done.
I know.
I thought running a salon and a team of hairdressers every day was difficult, but these are some different challenges for sure.
Oh,
but it's been a great journey. Thank you for that. That's very complimentary, and I appreciate you being on the call today. And congratulations for being a Waste Warrior this year. Okay, so Susie, do you want to do the same? Give an introduction to yourself.
Well, that's a hard act to follow, but I will try. Yes, much like Karen, I've been in the industry quite some time, about 35 years, and I've owned my salon for 20 years. I tend to think that, we excel at certain things. So I'll get into it later, where I didn't even really think I had a waste problem. And Vish just came in and taken us to another level, not only for our stylists, but for our guests to see. And to say that there's anything else out there like it, I looked at them all. I tried them all. I went through the demos of everything. I'm the person, before I spend money, I'm going to really make sure I'm getting the right one. And I can't praise it high enough.
Thank you very much. That means a lot to us. Okay, so let's talk about your, both being waste warriors this year and what that means. So just for those of you who don't know, Waste Warriors is a program that we run, or competition that we run every year. And I believe, yeah, so we run, and Karen and Susie are both champions in what they're doing. So some of the metrics that we look at is we look at reweigh percentage. So for those of you, again, who don't know, reweigh is when you take the bowl after you're done with your color service and you put it back on the Vish scale. And what that does is it calculates what's left in the bowl, deducts it from the formula, updates that. So now you're in a position where you're not wasting color anymore. So what we do is we update those formulas as we're going. And we have a target that we like to hit. And so we measure the reweigh percentage. We also look at the average cost of waste per service as one of the benchmarks. And then the percentage of waste per service, and then the cost per service. And then also the number of services that are being done over the 12-month period as well. So with that, all those metrics, we have two winners on a call with us today. And we want to talk about how they achieved it, what they did. And I'll give you some. So we'll talk about, let's just look here. We're going to look at Karen's numbers right now. So Karen, I want to start with you because I'm really curious to see how you've gotten your number down so low. So your cost per service. So for everybody, and you use Wella color, correct?
Wella and Rusk.
And Rusk. Okay. So being in the industry, and when I was working for one of the major brands, we would have benchmarks for salons. We'd say, look, your new growth application should cost you about this, and you should use X amount of product. But where we are and where you've been able to do through Vish and through your own methods is bring your cost per service down to $2.14, which is unheard of. It's so low. So can you talk about that with us? Just kind of explain how you got there, maybe how much you were using before and how Vish has helped you get to these goals of such low cost per application or per service.
Yes, I have to say that I have quite a few retouch clients, right? And they come in regularly. They come in on an average of every 4 weeks. So that has to be factored in when I'm talking about this, because not everybody has that kind of clientele. Right. Yeah. So I used to mix 3 ounces total for my retouch. Well, Vish has brought it down by 1/3. I don't need it. I was wasting. I was not really so much wasting as I was using more than I needed. Right. It made me aware of what I was using. My clients don't have a lot of regrowth. They keep up with their color. That's important. Pre-booking, all of that. Right. And so when I'm doing a retouch, I have realized and been able to bring that amount of color and the cost of color down so low. But, a lot of the designers, stylists in our salon, they do a lot of other types of services, where they do need more color. Right. And Vish has really kept that under control, because I see whole full bowls of color be mixed and my heart sinks. And so we have to choose our battles, and I try just to communicate. Do you really think you'll need that much? This is in the past, but it still comes up with new clients. When you're doing a new client, you don't know how much you're going to need. But Vish helps us focus and pay attention to where, oh, okay, so I probably need about this much, not a whole bowl. Right. I don't need multiple massive amounts. But if you're doing a lot of these scalp to end, ombre, balayage, thick, long hair, it's a different story. I get that. Right. So it still has saved us so much money and kept us from over mixing so many times. The awareness alone, plus the next time the client comes back, we know exactly how much we did use.
That's right.
So
that's great. And you made a great point. I mean, you have a very specific clientele. So, you have your clients that you've worked with them and you got them on a regular schedule. But
Right.
Susie, we're going to look at your numbers now for your overall salon because it's very similar, actually. So where we took Karen's numbers as an individual, we are looking at Susie's numbers overall for her entire salon. And Susie's, your salon's average cost per service is $2.63.
Whoa.
Yes.
Can
Yes.
you talk to us about that? So, to Karen's point, she does very specific services on a regular cycle. But when you talk about your whole salon, we've got balayage, you've got services that use a lot of product. How is it that you were able to get your team to get down to $2.63 per service?
Well, I absolutely love that Karen spoke about doing just the new gross, because we do have some of our more tender stylists. That's exactly what they do.
Right.
However, there's only a few of those. So most of our salon is doing shadow roots, balayages, and all of this. And to be honest, that's where a lot of product waste or overuse was happening. And also in our salon, we tend to, a lot of guests see a lot of different colorists. They'll go with whoever the colorist is that has availability. And Vish helped us realize that maybe what took 60 grams for me took another colorist 90 grams. It helped us realize where the application was being overused. Not that we were putting it down the drain, but if we're wasting it on the head, of course, that's bad. Down the drain is bad for the environment. Either way you waste it, it's not good. And so that was one of the places that helped us. I'm like Karen. I too have a lot of guests that come in more on the every 4-week cycle of this type. But what it helped me do, I'm very bad about, I was already trying to conserve. So I would never mix quite as much as I needed. And then what would happen is when I would go back to remix, I couldn't take so many colors and do just 20% of my original formula. I would have to mix another small batch just because of doing easy math. I'm going fast in the salon. I don't have time to do all of this, especially a lot of math at that point.
Right.
It is so easy to go over and say, I need 10%, 20%. That is one feature our team absolutely loves, and that helps us keep it down as well.
Great. Thank you. And just for everybody to clarify on that, just Vish does the math whenever you want it to. So we give you the ability that if you just want a little bit more, like Susie was saying, 10% more, 20% more of the formula, we give you that control and accuracy of your formula. So Susie, I'm going to ask you this question now. Tell us about your business and how you've seen the sustainability conversation in the salon shift in the industry from when you began in the industry.
Oh, well, when I began in the industry, we didn't have the knowledge. We truly didn't have the knowledge. I've been in it way too long to admit it. I'll tell that here. But going back just from my salon, I will say for 20 years, we've started to see how we could make a change. Just our salon, our one small business in town, and do kind of a ripple effect. So everything that we go to do, we will explain to the guests what we're doing. We started what we called our own Go Green movement in 2019. And we had been doing each little thing, and we would explain to our guests what it was. Nothing excited them like watching us mix their color with Vish. That's more exciting than our, biodegradable towels or the new lights or the new this or that. When they can see us go over and mix their color, it gives them a reassurance that next time they're going to get the exact same thing. And it really does provide consistency.
Absolutely. Okay, so what is this is for you, Karen. What does a waste warrior mean to you in your salon, and even to your clientele? So is it a proud thing for you to talk about with your team? How did they react to you being yourself being part of a waste warrior program and winning this year?
Okay, I'm very proud of it, and our account, our checkbook, is very proud of it. The staff, they're very down to earth, team oriented, willing, and they love a lot of things about Vish. They do the reweigh. If they miss a reweigh and I let them know, they're like, okay, I think I remember now when that was and who that was. So they're proud of it. They don't have the big picture of how much I love it though I let them know how important it is, and I've told them how much it affects us being able to invest in the business, the marketing. We put in new shampoo bowls and chairs the day after Christmas. Santa came, and it does allow us to do those things, and it does affect them and their bottom line. It's probably something I'm more proud of
Yeah, that's
than
great.
anybody. And they're very much playing, the Vish game as far as the rules and how it works and how it benefits everybody. But it's kind of because they are rule followers, and
Right.
we are like-minded that way. So that's awesome. Clients, I loved Susie's point. I recently, well, around Christmas, moved my station back by our color bar. And that's been interesting because the clients do think it's really super cool. And they're like, wow, I had no idea. First of all, they see all of our color, which is displayed nicely and it looks cool. But they're like, I had no idea how many colors. I had no idea about your Vish system.
Yeah.
I don't advertise at all how much I spend on their formula. So
Right.
I'm a little standoffish on that end, but I like Susie's point that they see that builds confidence. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, well, that's more in our processing area technically, except that I've been back there to witness more of it. But when the clients are processing, they see the other designers doing it. So yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a great point, because I mean, looking at the color bar and seeing how complicated and complex it is, and seeing your hairdresser mixing and going through all that work really elevates the service and it elevates the quality and lets them know that they, going to a drugstore or doing color at home is not so straightforward and they shouldn't really attempt it. So I totally agree with you. So let's talk about, I mean, that sustainability piece, you make a great point, right? It's, it's not everybody's their first driver. It's not the most, their salon's only goal or focus goal, because we know that sustainability and business sense have to go hand in hand. So being sustainable also has to mean being profitable. So if we talk about your salon's monthly goals, and either of you, it's a question for both of you or one of you, what do you have in place to keep your waist down and your reweigh high? So what are some of the things that your salon does? How do you monitor that? How do you coach your team? What is it you do to ensure that they're keeping their reweigh up and their waist down?
I can answer that unless Susie wants to go first.
It's just really simple, and I wish I could take credit for it. It's the young spirit in our salon. They will get on you quickly if you even think about reweighing or walking away from that color bar without doing so. It's the young blood in our salon that makes sure they bring all of us into how important this is for the environment, because it's what they care about deeply. And when you start to join forces with them, it's a beautiful thing. So I want to give all the credit to our assistants and our proteges. These are the smart 21 and 22-year-olds that are like, don't miss the most important step.
That's great.
I wish I could take credit, but it wasn't me.
Great, thank you. How about, so Karen, go ahead.
So we communicate regularly about our reweigh. And I think at this moment, we're at 98% reweigh. Of course, our goal is 100. And a number of us are 100% reweigh. But I do have a funny, quick story. When I think you or the girl that trained us were telling us, okay, so then you log out. After you mix and after you're finished, you log out. And I'm like, oh yeah, whatever. I don't need to log out. It will do that for me. And I forget how long, a minute, 2 minutes, I forget.
Yeah.
Well, I learned not that long ago, somebody screwed up my reweigh because I didn't log out, I realized. And they just started mixing under me, and then they didn't reweigh.
Yes.
And I was like,
what's happening?
Yeah, wait a minute. Don't be screwing up my reweigh. I mean, it was just funny because now I realize I have to log out. And it's not that hard. You hit log out. But I just didn't realize the importance of that. And honestly, it took 2 years for that to happen to me. But it's a great way to have some conversation too. If somebody forgets to reweigh something, I'll just let them know what it was that they forgot to reweigh. Toners were a big issue for a long time because you do that at the bowl. A lot of us do. And then you forget to go reweigh that. It's not your normal routine. So
that behavior has to be built. And do you agree that in salons, I mean, I see it all the time in salons that I interact with, that there's a bit of a healthy competitive nature within the salon about the reweigh percentages?
yes.
Who's doing the best, or if somebody does, somebody hits 100 and then drops below, it's kind of devastating to some people. So it's very interesting how that works. Okay, so I just want you to ask you, if you were to talk to another salon, and this is for both of you again, what are some of your top tips for salons who are interested in becoming more sustainable, or how to motivate their teams to have profitability and sustainability on the forefront, but they may not know where to start? So can you just kind of give us some of your top tips on how you're running your salons and focus on the areas of sustainability and profitability?
Myself, okay. Go ahead, Karen.
No, you can go ahead.
Well, to be honest with you, running a sustainable salon for us was the next step. Our goal is to give back to the community that we serve. So right now, if we're trying to serve the community, we have to also serve the planet. We can't just be destructive and claim that we're caring 11 for the community. So that was just another way that we stepped into it. And we have to have hairdressers and colorists, and everyone has to be on that same team to kind of really push it. And right now, I'm very fortunate that I have that team. So that's how ours got into place. So I'll come back to our philosophy of giving back to the community we serve. And when you're giving back to the community, you need to care for every part of your business, not just the bottom, not just the bank account line, but every line. Every line has a benchmark.
That's great. That's very accurate. And thank you for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love the giving back thing, and ours is focused on our fundraisers that we do for kids in need, and that could be a whole nother webinar. But anyway, so the way we run our business is, thank God for my husband, because I am still taking clients, and when I'm behind the chair, it is not like work to me. So I really don't want to give that up, at least, to a degree. I want to be able to take care of my clients. That is my favorite part about this industry. It's not work to me. When I have to do some of this business stuff, I'm like, ugh. But my husband, he is the business guy. So he's the technology guy too. When he saw Vish, he was all over it. And I thought it was amazing that this could even happen, because this has been an issue the whole time I've been in this industry.
Yep.
The amount of color that goes down the drain, it is terrible for our environment. It is terrible for our checkbook. It's unnecessary. So with the technology of Vish, I have to tell you, if I can do it, anybody can do it. It was so easy. I am not kidding you. I can't use enough words to tell you how easy it is and how effective it is and how beneficial it is. And Vish can literally save salons. The profit margin in a salon is not, or any business really, is not what people think it is. And so when you realize how much money this can save you, it can literally, and I'm sure it has, saved salons to even exist. Not just, yes.
We
not
do.
just
We
be
get that feedback
profitable.
all the time. We get salons that tell us that if it wasn't for the product charges, or if it wasn't from the reduction in inventory spending, The doors wouldn't be open, especially in the hard times that we are right now, coming out of COVID, or even during when the lockdowns were happening. And just on that note, what I'd love to share with you is just some numbers to look, really talk about it. And I'm going to quote some numbers, some research that we've done that is from the US. So this is just focused on a problem in the US alone. There's 15 million pounds of hair color, which is wasted every year. So what that equates to is 2 out of every 5 tubes of color are thrown away. And we are wasting about 328,000 tubes of color every single day. It's crazy, right? Crazy. And I always use this, and people hear me say this all the time, repeat this. If you took, 25, 40% of your retail inventory order, when you receive it and you receive your shampoo and your conditioners and you're putting it up on the shelves to sell to your customers, and you took 40% of that and you threw it in the trash, well, you just wouldn't do it. It'd be unimaginable. But we are doing it every single day with hair color. And by reducing your waste, by reducing how much color you're using, it's not just the sustainability in your salon, but think of the manufacturing that happens, the electricity that's required. Think about the shipping and everything else that's happening, the cardboard that it's being that it's being disposed and hopefully recycled. That gets reduced as well. So, and if those of you who are using Green Circle to recycle your hair color, that means less is being shipped back to them, which is saving the environment a little bit more. So it isn't just what you're seeing in the sink. It's a ripple effect on where it's happening throughout the industry. And so there's 170 bowls the average hairdresser wastes in the United States every year. So 170 bowls of color are thrown away. So we are, I'm super proud and very excited to have you both here today. And congratulate you for being waste warriors. And part of Vish, and what I'm really interested in, is we know where salons sit and where their benchmarks are when they start with us. We know that most salons are sitting between $8 and $15 per application. We target to get the salons down to $4 per application or per service. And the fact that your teams and yourselves individually have been able to bring that benchmark even lower is amazing and unbelievable. And we're so proud and happy that you've been able to do it and share this information. So I think I just almost lost my connection there for a second. In closing, I just want to, just if there's any final words that you'd like to say, any words of wisdom or any words of encouragement for everybody, please, take a minute to share that with me.
One thing I would like to add about Vish, and unfortunately, this is not toward Vish's actual goal, but it may be toward our salons. Another way Vish has saved us money, another way Vish has created revenue for us, is recording formulas accurately, but also making sure they're paid for when they go out of the door. Having a team of 10 colorists, someone adding a gloss, someone adding this to the ends. Even I have done it. You forget to tell your front support team. You forget to tell them that you added this to your guests 1, 2, or 3. Then at the end of the day, you're like, oh my gosh, there was that money. Well, now that front desk automatically has every gram. They know how to charge.
Susie, we're losing you a little bit there.
Charge correctly, and unfortunately, I'm embarrassed to admit to you. Oh no, it's the good stuff. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. We lost about 30 seconds of that.
Okay. What I was trying to say is the best thing on Vish is it also helps us charge correctly. We had no idea how much color was walking out of our door.
She's making such a good point. I'm not cutting her off, am I? She froze.
You go ahead. Yes.
No,
You're frozen there.
Go right ahead.
Okay. I kind of like the slow motion when she said every gram, and she didn't even do it on purpose. But anyway, it's such a good point because extra color is needed often, very often these days for the services that salons are doing. And it does need to be paid for. Oh my gosh, it does need to be paid for. So That was so cool. I was listening to you. I'm trying to remember. She brought up a great, oh, yeah. You guys keep asking me in, our questionnaires and stuff, what's your biggest tip? And I'm like, get Vish. I mean, it's a no-brainer. I'm telling you, it pays for itself. It is. I'm so glad I adopted your brainchild. I'm so glad I was led to your brainchild, because I honestly, for years, didn't think this was even possible. And
it took, years and years and years, and finally, Bluetooth technology with scales have finally caught up to the demands of the industry. And like you said, I mean, this problem has existed forever. And, we've always been aware of it, but we've never, I remember my salon holding up the bucket every staff meeting and saying, guys, look how much we're wasting. But I never offered them a solution. Never said to them, here's how we get rid of it, until Vish. So I'm happy that we're able to, as a company, partner with great people like you who are doing amazing things in the industry that are actually getting the results and even shattering them by making the benchmarks even better than they thought they could be. So, I'm encouraging you to keep going where you are. And, next year, I want to look at these numbers again and just see what gains you've made and continue to grow in your businesses. So I thank you both for your support, for being a waste warrior, and doing a fantastic job in setting benchmarks for the rest of the industry.
Thank you.
me too.
Enjoy your Monday, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.